Xerox Transfer 101. It's for you, Mel. So here's my Xerox Transfer. It is completely mirrored. So the type is backwards. Because once you transfer it down, it's going to go down face down, so it will flip it back to normal. The canvas, it's sealed with gesso, clear, or you can use the acrylic medium we're going to use for the video. Materials, Scotch-Brite pad, 1 house brush, the bigger the better, especially when we work in large areas, and 1 squeegee. Those are the materials, and a can of acrylic medium base, deep base, and I'll show that later on in the video. So here it is. This is the glue, the binder, the sealer. It's interior, flat, deep base, equivalent to acrylic medium, which people mostly use for this. I found that this works best, and it's also cost effective. You can use satin, semi, high gloss. I like high gloss or flat. Just the high gloss seals better, and it coats better, and it keeps the image in a lot better too, but this works as well, if not better. Alright, so this is how it starts. Put some medium on your brush, pretty obvious. I coat the paper first, let it get nice and absorbed into it. Put a liberal amount. You don't want this to dry up on you, especially when you're doing big spaces. You want it to stay pretty fluid, because once that sealer bonds to the paper and starts to dry, it kind of locks in everything. And you don't want really like high spots or low spots. You want this thing to seal down really smooth. So just applying the medium onto the paper. That looks good. I'm moving the paper aside now. I'm working in small areas, so I'm trying to multiply the space by using the surface I'm mounting to do the paper as well. You probably have more space when you go to do it. And then, like I said, liberal amount to the canvas. The canvas tends to absorb really well, so that's why I coated it with 1 coat first to kind of prime it. So just apply it like I am, make sure it's in there really well. I know you can't see all the surface, but that portion is no different than this side or that side, so. Still applying. Alright, now registration. You might have techniques for registering. I usually make marks, or I cut the paper to the exact size that I'm working, and then I just mount it, so I don't have to deal with like it becoming off-centered or cocked or whatever. So here we go. Apply one side first. The 2 mediums together, you have a little bit of movement with it to get it set. So that's good enough. So I take the squeegee. I like to do one end the opposite direction just to get the paper to stick so it doesn't slide on you, and it kind of sets it. Make sure you squeeze it down really well, especially on canvas because it has so much tooth. And then start working the other direction. And this particular piece of canvas has like a seam in it where it's like not level. I didn't iron it. You might like that effect because it's probably going to sand off quicker than the other areas. Much like you do with your paint medium or your house paint when you sand it after you finish doing the typeface. So make sure it's good and stuck down. Canvas is a lot different than working on wood, so you kind of have to work a little bit more. It's okay if you have a little bit on top. Just when you're done, you'll see I'll take a brush and kind of clean it off, smooth it out so they're not big chunks. Remember, whatever you have on here, you have to sand it down. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so here we go. It dried. Sometimes I sand it with an orbital to kind of get the top layer and the glue off. Sometimes when it's wet, I'll find an edge where I can kind of like peel some of the paper off. That makes it a lot faster. You can see what I'm doing here. It like pulls off in strips. Don't pull it off if it's like you're starting to see black come up, because then you're just losing your Xerox. So here's a really, I guess, abrasive, aggressive like scouring sponge. Go to the 99-cent store, get them for like $1 for like 2. Cuts down on costs, whatever. So I start with this. In this kind of circular motion, start taking up paper. With this material, it's white. The paper's white and fibrous. You kind of want a vintage look anyways, so I'd focus primarily on getting all the type up. You can see I'm kind of working this edge, see how glued it is, see if it's really dried. Start working the type. You can see almost immediately you're seeing the type. I sanded through a little too much right there on that R, so it does happen pretty quick. And if you want that patina like age typeface, just you can go at it, work a little more. I'm gonna use this sponge to break up the stuff on top, the paper, and then I'm gonna use a lighter sponge. So here's just your kitchen sponge. Just go over the top of it. Kind of get up some of the extra paper so it looks clear. You can see where we had that seam. It lifted the paper, the Xerox all together. So you can go back through with a brush, touch up any of the black that you want, but it's up to you. I kind of like it when it sands through and you can kind of see some of the white through the black. And then after you're done sanding and it's completely dried, wash off all the paper material, like all this pulp you see. Wash that completely off, let it dry, and then come through with the same medium you used, or you can put a gloss on it if you want to make it like super waterproof. Then seal it. And it'll get rid of the haze and anything else that you're dealing with. It will pretty much bring it back up, and it'll make your darks or your blacks super black. So that's it. So here you have it, finished product. This side I kept as clean as possible, and then it goes down. I sand a little bit more so you see the complete profile of sanding. And this side being the roughest and most distressed. And like I said, you can go through and touch up black ink, paint. Sometimes use paint pens because I just have them on hand and it's just easy to grab and paint. Pulling out medium cleaning brushes and all that stuff sometimes hinders progress. But there you have it. Cheers.